fine. As I said, my name's Karen. I went deaf when I was 8 years old from a bang on my head at school. Basically, I spent the last 25 years after that completely profoundly deaf. I couldn't hear anything at all. After a lot of operations, one operation, a lot of tests, spinal tap, all that sort of thing, they eventually fitted me with behind-the-ear hearing aids, which I'm sure some of you probably have. They were absolutely no use to me at all. I spent 25 years just hearing noises until the age of 33, when I finally decided to go for the Cochlear implant from working with the Hearing and Balance Centre, seeing customers come in with cochlear implants and seeing the improvement that it had made on their lives as well. It was a really, really hard decision for me, basically because I'm really scared of operations. I don't like needles. I don't like the idea of having my hair shaved off, but I didn't at the time. So there was a lot to take in. It's not a small operation. It's not something that you can take lightly. But talking with Sarah Platt-Hesworth, who works at the Hearing and Balance Centre, and also knowing Dr. Biggs, who was speaking before, sort of helped me make the decision to go ahead with it. The operation itself wasn't too bad. A few tears, obviously worried that I wouldn't make it through to the other end. I made the anaesthetist promise me that nobody had ever died, so that was something that sort of I considered when I had the operation. I went home the next day, lots of stitches in my head, but no pain, just a little bit of bruising in my neck. The switch on itself happened 3 weeks after the operation. That was a scary time. I was convinced it wouldn't work. I'm not really sure why, I just wasn't sure that it would work. At the time with Sarah, in the actuals of the switch on day, took 45 minutes to an hour. It was probably one of the most more nerve-wracking than the operation itself, I think. Sarah and I both sort of sat there once she switched the machines on and everything, and neither of us said a word. It wasn't until I actually cleared my throat that I realised I could actually hear something. The first time in 25 years, that was just quite shocking. I wasn't that impressed with it at first, and I had been told prior, but both by Sarah and Dr. Biggs, that it would take a long, long time for me to get used to actually hearing sounds. I only have the implant in this ear. This one's completely deaf. But the first month or so after the actual operation, everything was really, really muffled. It wasn't clear. I was really disappointed actually at the quality of the sound that I could hear. It wasn't until I was driving home from the switch on and I put my indicator on in my car and I could actually hear the tick, tick, tick of the indicator that I realised that I could hear something. And I just burst into tears. I was like, oh, I can hear, you know. It was just an amazing time for me. I got home as well and switched on the light, and that makes a noise as well, just a little click. I can hear the light, that's amazing, you know. So I spent 15 minutes just switching the light on and off, going, wow, I can hear the light. That was awesome. Basically, the reason it took me so long to actually go through with the operation was I was okay being deaf. It wasn't really that big a deal for me. I got on with my life, I dealt with things, you know, no big deal. The only thing I didn't like was not being able to use the phone, especially when I was a teenager and I'd been out to a nightclub and I'd met a nice boy and he phoned me up, but he actually had to talk to my mum and not me, so there were no secrets. There were no secrets, basically. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, basically, the phone thing was probably the major thing that made me decide to go ahead with it. And also, I had made a decision 4 years ago to go back to university, to go to university, to become a primary school teacher. And that was the reason I left the Hearing and Balance Centre in the first place. Brilliant people to work for. So wanting to be a primary school teacher, as well as needing to use the phone, were the two things that swayed me into having the operation. 3 months after the operation, despite the fact that I was told that it would take over a year for me to actually begin to hear again properly, I persuaded my brother to phone me on his mobile phone, and I made sure that he knew to speak very slowly and very clearly, because this was the first time that I'd spoken to somebody on the phone since I was 8 years old, you know. So he phoned me. I had no expectations. I wasn't expecting to hear him. Well, I knew I'd be able to hear him, but I wasn't sure whether I would be able to understand him, whether the sound quality would be good enough. I heard everything. I understood every single word that he said. 3 months after the operation, from being deaf for 25 years, and more tears, you know. My hands were shaking, my legs were shaking, my brother kept laughing. I can't believe I'm talking to you on the phone, you know. That was just absolutely amazing. It was like a miracle, practically, that something like that could actually happen after all those years of complete silence. The thing that I like the most about the cochlear implant is being able to tell whether it's a magpie outside my window or a minor bird. I can tell the difference between bird noises. I can hear the waves at the beach. I can hear the wind in the trees and the rain coming down. Although I have to say, after the last few weeks, I'm really glad that I don't hear any more rain. We've had too much at the moment. What else? I don't know. That's right. When I first got my implant, because the sound was so muffled, I began to become impatient and frustrated that things weren't happening quite as quickly as I thought they would. So I began listening to talking books on the radio, on the CDs, so that I could learn to hear what sounds were. I listened to the same music CD over and over again while reading the lyrics, and I found that that helped me begin to get used to what words sounded like. I can now sing along to CDs without actually needing to look at the lyrics, but I have been told by my parents that I sound like I'm trying to brainwash people into joining a cult, so I don't do it too often. Basically, if anybody has profound hearing loss, I would definitely recommend that they go for a cochlear implant operation, because it's completely changed the way that I look at things. It's made me appreciate noises so much more. There have been a few shocks that I haven't been expecting. People dragging their feet on the floor, so annoying. Public toilets, a little bit of a shock there too. But definitely, I would recommend it to anybody who had a profound hearing loss. And yeah, it's basically changed my life completely. Thank you.